Ladies and gentlemen, patrons and members, I want to talk to you about Chris Cornell. Just a talk, just a chat. This isn't typical video of mine. I'd like to get your feedback. I want to know how many of you think that his death was a little strange. I'm going to go over some things that I've found. Now, keep in mind, I haven't did any deep dive research on this. I've read some pretty vague articles. I want to share them with you. I want to see if you guys know anything that I don't know and just see how people are feeling about it. I was originally very much, of the thought that he had been depressed his whole life and he got fucked up on depression and drugs and killed himself. And now I'm not so sure. Also, going to be switching microphones soon. A microphone that I'll be talking more directly into and my voice will sound much better. So I'm just kind of getting used to having a microphone in my face. Although once I get this new microphone, there'll be no need for a pee filter. So that'll be different. But anyway, so here's the first thing. Fuck it. Let me just cut right to the chase. Here's the first thing I found out about Chris Cornell's wife, Vicky Cornell. She's friends with Courtney Love. Vicky Cornell is friends with Courtney Love. Did you know this? Second thing, after Chris's death, Vicky changed the password to Soundgarden's social media accounts and locked the rest of the guys out of their own social media accounts. Now, they make ad revenue from these accounts. These guys, Kim Thiel and the rest of them, they don't even have access to Soundgarden's account, the music they made, they wrote, and they're not getting any money from it. Vicky Cornell is. Here's another thing. As you may know, Metallica, Alice in Chains, the rest of the guys in Soundgarden, basically everybody who was left alive from the grunge era put on a benefit show for Chris Cornell for charity. The charities never got the money. Vicky Cornell kept the money. The members of Soundgarden sued Vicky Cornell because, fraud. Because she had them work and put on this show. They made all this money and then she just kept it for herself. Now, I don't know what happened to that lawsuit. I don't know if it's ongoing, if it was settled. Like I said, I just read a couple articles very briefly. This is something I need to look into. Let's talk about the night of his death. There was a YouTuber, I can't remember his name. He noticed that Chris seemed to have a wound on the back of his head, but this was during the show, apparently, before Chris died, obviously. He seemed to have some kind of wound on the back of his head. Is it possible he was suffering from a concussion from a fight or something? Vicky Cornell says she's talking to Chris, who, by the way, Chris's real name is Chris Boyle. He was born and named Chris Boyle after his father. His father was an alcoholic, abusive piece of shit. Later in life, he took his mother's name, Cornell. So, interesting fact that you may or may not have known. And I understand why Chris would have been suffering his whole life from depression. What happens to you in childhood will stick with you your entire life. No matter how old you get, it just seems to go unresolved, unfortunately. And having an abusive alcoholic father is probably a good reason to be depressed. Personally, for me, my parents were physically abusive until I got too big and they really couldn't hurt me anymore. And then they just became neglectful. They would give me the silent treatment. Sometimes for weeks, they'd just act like I wasn't even there. And in lots of ways, that'll fuck your head up more than being beat on. Anyway, back to Chris. Vicky talks to Chris. She says that he's incoherent. He's not making any sense. It's obvious that he's fucked up on drugs. She hangs up the phone. She calls his bodyguard and she tells the bodyguard to break in the room. Okay, let's stop there. This is the problem I have with Vicky's story, and this is what sounds shady to me. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Why would she tell the bodyguard to break in the room? Why would she assume that Chris wouldn't open the door? Why wouldn't she say, please go knock on the door? Talk to Chris. I'm worried about him. Why would she say you need to go kick the door in? Does it make sense to you? Doesn't make sense to me. Also, it was 41 minutes from the time the bodyguard reaches the room, gets in the room. Okay, let me correct that. It was either 41 minutes from the time he hangs up the phone with Vicky Cornell until a medic is there doing CPR, or from the time he gets in the room until the medic gets there. 41 minutes. An article I read said that the hotel had a medic, employed a medic who was right there in the hotel. So why did it take so long for a medic to get to Chris Cornell? I'll have to read it again, and I'll have to read other articles, but I think what it was implying was, according to phone records, Vicky and the bodyguard speak to each other, and from the time they both hang up their phones until the time a medic reaches Chris, 41 minutes have passed. How is that possible? The bodyguard would have immediately went to the room, kicked the door open, 5-10 minutes would have passed, called 911. Within 5 to 10 minutes, somebody would have been there. 20 minutes at the most, not 41. Beyond that, Vicky Cornell, who wasn't even around when Soundgarden made these albums. By the way, Chris Cornell was married to their manager, Susan Silver, who in my opinion he should have stayed with. Vicky Cornell wasn't even around when Soundgarden was touring the world at the peak of their popularity, putting out these albums. She is suing the rest of the guys in Soundgarden for, what am I trying to say? Ownership of unreleased material. And that, I don't know about you, but that makes me excited. There is unreleased Soundgarden material in a vault somewhere, and Vicky Cornell wants ownership of it so she can sell it. What the fuck? You had nothing to do with the creation of that music. Here's some thoughts that I just want to throw out there, and I want to see how you guys feel about it. The fact that Vicky is friends with Courtney Love, the fact that both deaths, the fact that both situations are shrouded in mystery. Is it possible that let's say these women are innocent of any wrongdoing or any murder, but if you are married to a manic depressive, emotionally unstable, depressed, possibly suicidal person, if you are married to them, chances are they love you, they trust you, and your word is above everybody else's word, right? That's the way marriage is supposed to be. You're supposed to take your partner's word before anybody else's word. What if Courtney didn't have Kurt murdered, but what if she pressured him into suicide? What if it was more like either a bitchy thing, yeah, you're a worthless piece of shit, you probably should kill yourself, or B, and this is the one I would say is more likely, more manipulative, well, you know, maybe you would feel better if you hate life so much, maybe it'll be a release. Maybe you would be better. Don't worry about the kids. I'll take care of the kids. You don't have to worry about a thing. I'll take care of everything. If you feel as though you don't belong in this world, then I support you. And I'm going to take care of everything that you're worrying about. And I don't want to start any rumors or say anything too outlandish, but what if Courtney said, well, I got my husband to commit suicide. Here's how you do it. What if? I'm just saying, what if? Tell him it's okay. Tell him you'll take care of the children. Tell him he has nothing to worry about. If he wants to go, he can go. Is it a possibility? We don't know at this time. But I can tell you that there are a lot of people who doubt his death. There was an excessive amount of blood at the scene. Now, when you hang yourself, things happen. The blood will congeal in your head. It can come out your ears, your eyes, your eyeballs can pop out. Blood can come out your mouth. But according to professionals who were on the scene, there was an excessive amount of blood. There was a wound on the back of the head that I haven't looked at the video yet, but according to another YouTuber, that you can actually see a wound on the back of his head. Apparently there was more blood than you would typically see at a typical hanging or strangulation. Here's the big thing, guys. You know, I always save the strangest thing for last. 9 fractures to the ribs. No. Let me repeat that. 9 bilateral fractures to the ribs. When someone is excessively doing CPR on a patient, it is common for the top ribs to fracture slightly, like hairline fractures. But he had 9 fractures all up and down his ribs. How do you explain that? I'm going to do more research and I'm going to make a video. But before I do, I wanted to know how you guys feel about this. Maybe you think, and I haven't decided. It's not like with Kurt, I think something fishy was going on. With Chris, I'm unsure. I don't know. He was a depressed guy. I mean, he wrote a song called Pretty Noose. He was quoted as saying, you know, sometimes I just wake up and I'm depressed for no reason. Like everything's great in my life and I just feel horrible. Probably stemming back to that childhood abuse. By the way, I apologize for the light. It is morning time in Ohio. Obviously, east is that way, and the light shines through the blinds. I'm gonna have to get some curtains. Yeah, I just want to know how you guys feel. Do you think something fishy was going on? Do you think he just committed suicide? Is there any information that I haven't went over that I need to know about or look into? I really want to make a video about this, and I will not be suggesting that he was murdered. I'm just going to go over everything I find and put it out there because I think these are things that people should know. Give me some feedback. By the way, this t-shirt, you can see I made a K record shield. I turned the little baby devil guy into like a superhero because Kurt was into Evel Knievel. So I gave him some da-dun-da-duns and like a little Superman outfit, put a K record shield on him, turned the flower, let's see here, put some fire around the flower. It's kind of like an unblossomed rose, colored it in. Just something I did in my spare time. I am going to be giving some of these shirts out in the future, very, very near future. I kept seeing other YouTubers with like drawings of Lane Staley on their t-shirts, and you're allowed to alter things. You can't just straight up copy things, but you can alter things. These are not on my merch shelf, okay? They're not there for people to look at and purchase. As of right now, you can get them through Teespring because I needed to get them printed, and I've purchased a few of them to give away. But yeah, I've seen like YouTube channels with Pokemon on their shirts and like all kinds of cartoon characters, recognizable album covers, blah, blah, blah. And I looked into it. Apparently you can alter things and print them. So pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. Other than that, just looking forward to your feedback on this topic and be expecting a video to drop. As far as the channel, it continues to grow. It's averaging about 800 to 1,500 new subscribers per month, which is always good. When you stop gaining subscribers, you know you're in trouble. The channel has been, this is odd, the channel has been generating ad revenue, but it doesn't generate ad revenue from my Nirvana videos or anything like that. My old videos, my video game videos are now getting views. Like when I was playing video games, nobody wanted to watch. Now I've got video game videos with like 50, 60, 70,000 views, and the video game videos are taking off and earning the channel ad revenue. Who knew? Who would have thunk it? I've recently had video game developers emailing me wanting me to play their video games. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, this would have been great like a year and a half ago. Now I'm on to something totally different. I guess sometimes it just takes time for things to catch on, and we're just going to keep making music videos, and that'll be that.